Hello, and welcome to the Kaplan Theater at the Evelyn Rubenstein Jewish Community Center. Let's all disconnect from everything except what is happening on stage. Please silence all phones and other noise-making devices, and out of courtesy to all of our guests, please refrain from texting during the show. Photography and video recording are strictly prohibited. Note the two exit signs on both sides of the stage. In case of an emergency, staff and volunteers will assist you in leaving the theater. Thank you, and enjoy the program.
Ready? Hi, my name is Rosalind Heiken.
I'm Nancy Lerner.
And I'm Betsy Schreiber.
Welcome to this MVP award ceremony honoring Joel Dinkin. Let's set the stage, or should I say, let's set the field.
You know, I wonder what helped encourage Joel to come back to Houston after all of those years away. Wait, weren't you sent on a mission at a JCCA biennial?
There was a rumor that Joel would consider coming back home.
We were sent in to scout it out.
He had promised to be back when I was president of the J.
We did know all along that Joe would be an extraordinary candidate for MVP at RJ. Does he make it? Let's find out. We are so excited to be the executive producers for tonight's celebration. As with everything important at the J, it takes a team. A gazillion thanks to our directors, Lauren Blackman and Marilyn Hassad, our producers, Amy Ramani and Lori Piquet, and our special assistant producers, Melanie Beltran and Sarah Stile, along with the support staff of our JCC team members. And most of all, we want to thank Joel for letting us be part of his life. Now, let's welcome Cantor Rollin Simmons to kick off our celebration.
So I thought we'd warm up our voices this evening with some words about building a world with love, something that Joel has taught us through his leadership. So we have these three Hebrew words, Olam, Chesed, Yibaneh. Let's just all say these words together. Olam, Chesed, Yibaneh. And it goes like this. Olam, Chesed, Yibaneh. Ya-la-la. Let's try it together. Ready? Olam chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 ya la la la. That's beautiful. Let's do it one more time. Olam chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 ya la la la. We're going to take those same words and bring them a little bit higher. Olam chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 ya la la la. Beautiful. Olam chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 ya la la la. Now we're gonna sing in English. I will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, and you must build this world from love. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, and if we build this world from love, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, then God will build. Then God will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Such beautiful voices in this room. I would I would like to invite up Joel's family, Elena, Allison, and Marcy, to help me with Havdalah. Beautiful. Ya la ya la 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 la, ya la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la ya la 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 la, ya la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la. We begin with blessing over wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen Yai lai ya la 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 Yai lai ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la la. We continue with the blessing over the spices. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim borei minei besamim Yai lai ya la 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 Yai lai ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la la. And now the blessing over the fire. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh Yai lai ya la 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 Yai lai ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la la. And we come to our final blessing, the blessing of separation of Havdalah between the holiness of Shabbat and the week that lies ahead. So we take one last sip of the wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh levol hamavdil ben kodesh levol. Shavua Tov, everyone. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our host for this evening, Mr. Bobby Lapin.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am so delighted to welcome you, each and every one of you, to JSPN's special 40 for 40 presentation of Joel Dinkin, The Road to the MVP. I am beyond delighted to serve as your host for this part of the program tonight. And together we're going to take a look back at Joel's career here at the Evelyn Rubinstein JCC. And before he completes his final season with us and coasts into his retirement, we are collectively going to decide just whether he is indeed worthy of being named our most valuable player, or, since this is JSPN after all, what we would call in Hebrew the most valuable pardes, the leader who takes responsibility for others. So what makes for a most valuable player? Every team has the talent, but the MVP is the teammate that translates that talent into results, who makes everyone else look good and who makes the whole team greater than the sum of its parts. As someone once noted, an MVP is someone who turns pressure into calm, chaos into clarity, and teammates into believers. So who might best get us started in our quest to see just whether or not Joel was really deserving of this MVP status? I think we should begin with the only people to whom Joel has actually really had to answer over the years, and that would be his cadre of past JCC board presidents. Now, in search of them, we sent our crack team of reporters, investigative reporters, out in the field to ask a few of them a few questions to find out what it is just about Joel that makes him worthy of this MVP status. And happily, as Joel knows all too well, this group of past presidents is nothing if not cohesive, harmonious, respectful of each other, and always, always agreeable. Please turn your attention to the screen.
Not be there in person, but I'm traveling in Europe right now. This amazing building that you're all sitting in right now is truly a tribute to Joel, and his ability to match donors' passions with meaningful ways to give is just an incredible skill that we have all been blessed with.
Wait, Jeremy. We're going to go live here now, so be careful. If Joel had studied other options to locate the new J and then stayed put, Milan may not have remained the center of the Jewish community.
Gerald, that's important. But don't forget, Joel always shows such calm demeanor under all sorts of stress. Yay, Joel!
I don't know, Stephen. I don't know if that really is it. I would suggest that it's Joel's long-term vision for the future and planning it. That's what really qualifies him to be the candidate for the MVP.
I agree, Ann. I saw it when he returned to Houston. He had a clear vision, and he achieved all of it collaboratively, respectfully, patiently, and with honor.
Oh, come on, Nancy. Let's not forget, trust the process. During the Maccabi games in 2024, there were exciting and rocky moments in the planning, but Joel's cool head kept everyone on track.
Yeah, Debbie, I know. You're right. Ditto to trust the process. When I was president, we had to convince the board to move forward with construction to lock in costs when we only had raised only 60% of the campaign dollars. With Joel at the helm, everyone did trust him and move forward. That was 2019, and costs skyrocketed, as we all remembered, in 2020 with the pandemic. Without that trust, we couldn't have even afforded this project.
I have an even better one, Lauren. What I appreciate most about Joel is that he always recruits the right people at the right time to get the job done.
Carol, that's nice. but this is better. I appreciate his succinct style. He never says more,
than he is to be said or is ready to say. And as a consequence, people listen.
I don't know, Donald. I think Joel's ability to be incredibly organized and handle so many things at one time is really his most compelling trait.
Wait a minute. Enough about the soft stuff. Let's talk about the bottom line, shall we? With Harvey, COVID, and this building were all on Joel's plate around the same time, Joel remained even-keeled and has kept a keen eye on the finances of the J. And even more important, he improved our financial position during that time.
Dan, you always focus on the numbers. Finances matter, but what really matters is relationships. Joel knows his community well, knows all the players and their connections, and builds authentic relationships.
Bobby, you can't forget the little things. As someone who appreciates details, I respect that Joel thinks of the small things that really matter to our programs and our people.
Rosalind, the people really do matter. Joel is a great champion of the staff and always promotes their interests and talents. And since I'm last, go Joel.
Like I said, always agreeable, always harmonious. But I'm going to take the moment of personal privilege since I'm a past board president myself, and I have to chime in with one memory of my own. And in truth, I will never forget the time after Hurricane Harvey when Joel creatively turned our indoor tennis center here into a distribution hub for some very much needed supplies for the community to come and get. But rather than making it a drive-through, Joe actually required that those in need of this supplies had to come inside to collect whatever it was they needed. And you might say, why did he make them come inside? It was, of course, not because Joel wanted to add to the burden of these flood victims. It was because he understood so perceptively and insightfully that their pain could at least be partially assuaged by adding some empathetic human contact in that moment, and helping those who had suffered loss realize that they were part of a large community of caring for them. That was vintage Joel. So thank you to our past presidents for getting us started. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we proceed, of course, this being a commercial venture, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors, please.
We have created a special networking support line for our members to get advice from people who have experience with this important life change. Let's listen to two people who have some wisdom to share.
So as I was approaching my retirement, everybody has advice. I had people tell me, go play golf. Well, I don't play golf. I don't like golf. Go hang out at the movie theater. Well, I like going to the movies, but how many times during the week can you go to the movies? Well, you got to travel, and you got to get it in before you're 80, because when you turn 80, that's the end. I'm not sure what the end meant, but we have done, my wife and I have done a lot of travel, and it's the greatest thing we've ever done.
The best advice I got was to be sure I had a plan for the first few days, weeks of retirement so that I wouldn't just wander around the house in a robe, reading the newspaper, wondering what to do next. Best advice ever. Check. Next piece of advice is do not, under any circumstances, make any definite plans for 9 months to a year. Great advice, follow it, check. So lastly, whatever you do, never, ever, ever answer a call from Elise Spector-Kalmitz. Just kidding. Serving as the interim director of the Holocaust Museum Houston was a great pleasure, and I am really glad to be retired again.
JARP, your Jewish retirement partner, will help you find a spiritually fulfilling retirement.
Here's to a great retirement.
LaFion.
Join today.
JARP, there when you need it. All right, welcome back now. We're going to continue on our road to the MVP with what we now call the regular season, because the JCC is, after all, an institution whose ongoing mission is to regularly serve the over 10,000 members who've chosen to come and join here. Now, I imagine that many of us probably don't spend a lot of time thinking about member cultivation, satisfaction, and retention. But part of what makes Joel our MVP is that he thinks about that every day. And he quietly and unobtrusively makes the extra effort, those special touches, which really make a difference for so many of our members. How do we know this? Because our members tell us so. And I want to share with you a very true reflection from just one of our members, Lior Yonatan, who was formerly with the Israeli consulate here and who shared this reflection, and I quote, "In the 2016 Memorial Day flood, 8 months after we had started our term at the consulate here in Houston, our lives were suddenly turned upside down when our house flooded completely. Within a few hours, we lost almost everything, our furniture, our personal belongings, and so many items that we had brought with us when we came to Houston. On top of this shock, Michal, my wife, was 8 months pregnant, which made the situation all the more complicated for us. But when Joel heard what had happened, and especially that the baby stroller that we had bought for our coming baby had also been destroyed in the flood, he showed up with a brand new baby stroller for our baby who was only weeks away from being born. In the middle of everything that happened, his kindness, his generosity, and his genuine care meant more to us than he probably ever realized." That is Joel, going the extra yard for the members that he serves, and that's what we call MVP performance. Oh. I'm sorry. We will continue on the road to the MVP after another commercial break, please.
Was the director of senior services at the J when Joel said, "I think you can do more." Over lunch, enjoying a salad, if you know, you know, but Joel said, "You need to go for the chief program officer position. You just need to believe in yourself. It has been the best career move I've ever made."
Indeed, JD Talent Management did it again.
Back before the Samuels Pavilion opened, I was over wellness and fitness, and he asked me what vision would be of the new Samuels Pavilion on the first day that it was open. And I responded that there would be a lot of people, a lot of activity, the building would be very clean. And so he took that comment and basically kind of flipped it over on me and said, "So you have a passion for facilities and how they run, and use that as an opportunity to offer me the position for chief of facilities." And it just kind of shows how Joel can actually bring out things in people that they didn't even realize that they had within themselves.
In today's labor market, sometimes you have to find volunteers to supplement your workforce. Indeed, JD Talent Management sees talent in lay leaders also.
It's 2020 and the world has just erupted in a global pandemic, and I'm busy with homeschooled children and my job as an infectious disease doctor. And I think the last thing I was thinking about was figuring out how I could find extra time to volunteer for the J during this pandemic. But lo and behold, Joel gives me a call and says, "How would you like to lead our COVID-19 team?" And of course, my initial reaction was, how could I possibly do this on top of everything else I'm doing? How could I be qualified to do this? But immediately after the initial ask, he followed up with, "And don't worry, I've already pulled together a team that's going to help you." And Joel remained in this really, truly chaotic time across the globe, the voice of reason, and believed in me as a leader and my ability to pull together this team during a truly stressful time.
So shortly before COVID, the board, after years of thinking through and imagining every possible scenario, whether we might relocate, whether we might stay put, finally made the decision that we were going to remain on Braeswood and reinvest in that campus. And in about 2018 or so, Joel approached me and asked if I would head the committee to take that project from vision to reality. And working alongside him, week in and week out. During those shutdown days, during COVID, we would have Zoom meetings with all of our consultants and all of our team members. And it was such a privilege to work alongside Joel, to watch him assemble an incredible team, people with such diverse talents together. Our ideas, energy, effort came together under Joel's just remarkable leadership and vision to help make that dream a reality.
JD Talent Management will help your organization reach its full potential. JD Talent Management, building success one leader at a time.
Okay, we're back. You know, Joel has always been cognizant of the fact that the ERJCC, that our JCC is part of a larger continental JCC movement that is quarterbacked by the JCC Association of North America. And here to honor Joel this evening, we have with us two of the senior leaders of the JCCA who have flown in just for this event. And so now I want to invite to the stage to please join me, Barak Herman, who was the CEO of the JCCA, but himself also a former CEO of the JCC of Greater Baltimore, and Michael Feinstein, the JCCA's Chief Financial and Administrative Officer, also a former CEO of the Bender JCC in Greater Washington. So gentlemen, please come join me and take a seat. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank
Michael, welcome. Okay, thank you for being here to celebrate our MVP. I will tell you that I wish that time allowed for you to give us truly a much longer time for probing of your relative insights into what makes Joel so well respected across the JCC movement. But alas, the JSPN producer of this program has threatened to deny me access to Lakey's Cafe at the J for a month if I run over, and I don't dare risk that sanction. So I have to stick to a very strict program schedule with apologies. So I'm only allowed to ask each of you one question, but I'll encourage everyone who's here in the studio audience to visit with our two guests later on during the reception, because I'm sure they have some good stories to tell. So Barak,
Sure.
let me begin with you, if I may. How would you best characterize the impact that you think Joel has had on the JCCA movement?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here to celebrate Joel. And I would say Joel, if I'm correct, it's been 46 years. Is one of the few people that he's the exec's exec. He's an exec that we can turn to. He's a role model to all of us. I know when I first started this work, Joel was the first call to me. But he's our role model. You know, he's a mensch. He has taught all of us how to lead with kindness, how to stay calm under pressure. I was on a weekly call with him for 2 years on Monday nights with him with movement leaders during the pandemic. He knows how to stay cool, calm, and collected. And so what I think he's shown us as a JC movement is how to lead, how to build culture, how to build teams, and how to bring hope in the darkest and challenging of times. He's a mensch among mensches, and he's been served on our national board. I served with him. But I would say to him, the biggest honor that I can tell you to everybody is we look at him as the gold standard of being a CEO of a JCC.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Beautifully said. And Michael, as I understand it, you and Joel grew up, so to speak, as peers in the movement. So can you tell us a little bit perhaps about the impact which Joel may have had upon your career as a colleague and what you've learned from Joel about the importance of person-to-person relationships?
So as Joel knows, I don't wear this hat lightly. We bonded over sports when we were both Metro execs at the same time, but we have very different teams that we root for. But what I will say is over the years that Joel and I have spent together, he has shared his playbook with me. And his playbook, his top 4 plays are really what I think speaks to what I've learned and what I think he has shared with many other execs in the field. The first is understanding that being a CEO of a JCC can be a lonely job. You need to have your own group of trusted advisors, and it's even better when those trusted advisors are your friends. And I've been blessed to have Joel as a trusted advisor and my friend since 2010. The second play in his playbook was understanding that every good leader makes the people around them better. And I've always strived to follow in Joel's footsteps to try and make the people around me better. The third play that he shared with me is, you don't always have to be the first to speak. You don't have to speak the loudest. Your impact comes from the wisdom that you share. And Joel has shared a lot of wisdom with me. And the fourth play, the last play that he shared with me from his playbook, is that there is nothing more important than building relationships. Joel reached out to me first, and we've had a great friendship ever since. And I would say to anybody who is a leader, don't wait. Reach out to somebody and be a trusted advisor and a friend.
Beautiful. Well, gentlemen, I wish we could go on, but I want you to know in all sincerity that you honor us and you honor Joel with your presence here tonight. And we're grateful for having you both here to help us understand that Joel is not just our ERJCC MVP, but that his reach and his impact are no less treasured throughout the entire league, the movement, sorry, across North America. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking our special guests, Barack Herman and Michael Hines. And that now brings us to the climax, or close to it, of Joel's journey to the MVP, which would be the culmination of any great career, and that, of course, being the Super Bowl. Now, I should note that, as so many people in this room know, every day Joel suited up for work, frequently in a coat and tie, often in a day camp shirt. But there were those days when he knew he might be confronting, let's say, a particularly ornery longtime fitness center member who demanded fluffier towels, or perhaps, as in recent months, an anti-Israel protest march. And there are days like that. And for those days, Joel would don a special uniform. So believe me, when this was the Joel Dinkin that you saw roaming this campus, watch out, folks. Now, before we get to our true Super Bowl here, just a little bit more a sense of historical context and some time travel is probably appropriate, because for those who may not know, but was referenced earlier in the remarks, Joel actually has done 2 stints here at the Houston JCC. The first, the year was 1979. Our then JCC executive director, Jerry Wishy, himself a transplant from Pittsburgh, needed a new program director. So he made just the right call by calling up this very promising young rookie up to the big leagues. And it was then and it was here that Joel began to learn the ropes from some wonderfully seasoned veterans and mentors. And then about 11 years later, as inevitably happens in the sports world and sometimes in the JCC world, Joel decided to test the free agent market. And in 1990, Joel left Houston for what became a 16-year stint as the executive director of the JCC in Columbus, Ohio, where, apart from inexplicably somehow becoming an Ohio State Buckeyes fan, please, he managed a distinguished career as a JCC exec in Columbus before he came to 2 critically important realizations. One is that Mother Nature can be pretty brutal in the upper Midwest from November through May. But the other, and the much more important one, is that the mother of his 2 daughters would be much happier if he brought her back to her hometown of Houston, Texas. And so it was some 20 years ago, as Jerry was nearing the completion of his Hall of Fame career as our executive director here, that Joel and Elena did in fact return here to Houston, first to serve a 3-year stretch as a senior associate executive director, before then assuming the role of CEO upon Jerry's retirement 15 years ago in 2010. And the rest, as they say, is history. So we're now going to do what we always do in a road to the MVP, and that's to go to some highlight reels to demonstrate one of the more remarkable parts of Joel's recent Super Bowl performance. And I've asked the guys in the booth to pause the video at various moments so that, as we often do here at JSPN, I can give you a little understanding of what it is you're going to be watching. Now, I mentioned Mother Nature a moment or 2 ago, and at the risk of causing a not insubstantial number of people in this room to perhaps experience a recurrence of PTSD, take a look at this next video clip. Yep, that was 2017. It was Hurricane Harvey when this campus and indeed the community was devastated by its third and most destructive flood in just 3 years. You know, it was Dr. Martin Luther King who once noted that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge. And as we've already heard, some would argue that Joel's finest hour here at the J was when he led the center through that very dark and challenging chapter and into the light of what emerged afterwards. And what did emerge? Well, during the months and in the couple of years following Hurricane Harvey, Joel convened umpteen meetings of community leadership to answer these difficult questions. Should the JCC remain on this potentially flood-prone campus where it has been for 50 years? If we rebuild here, what part of the building should be preserved and what should be torn down and rebuilt? How can this campus be transformed into a central hub which will best serve the community for the next 50 years? And not unimportantly, of course, can this community be motivated to step up yet again, one more time, and raise the $50 million needed to rebuild this JCC for the next generation? And by the way, how in the world can all of this get done during an unprecedented pandemic? Well, happily, we know how the story turned out. Take a look. It began with a groundbreaking ceremony. And then over the course of 2 years, this campus was indeed transformed and reborn. And thanks to a superhuman effort by so many people in this room and in this community, we reached a very happy day in February of 2023 when this sparkling new $50 million, 126,000 square foot campus was dedicated to and for the next generation of our community. So by any measure, folks, this journey from Hurricane Harvey to the rebirth of this campus was no less unprecedented than it was transformational for our community. And in my humble opinion, I think it will serve probably forever as the central thread of Joel's legacy here, the Super Bowl, if you will, of his career. And what else makes up that legacy? Nothing less than daily vibrancy, daily service to every demographic of our community, and daily joy. And perhaps no event better illustrates what this JCC can be at its best than the return after a dozen years of absence of the JCCA Maccabi Games last year, when we welcomed 1,500 athletes from across North America and Israel. So let's roll the videotape to give you a sense of some of that vibrancy. What a rebirth indeed, huh? Which brings us, of course, back to Joel. We've reflected on Joel's MVP caliber performance here on this campus and nationally. However, one thing that Joel has never neglected or forgotten is the JCC's middle name, community. Joel has always been guided by that mandate so central to the Jewish DNA, that of Tikkun Olam, the responsibility to repair and improve our community, not just to repair the Jewish community, but to repair the greater community in which we all live. And that requires a commitment of leadership and of partnership with all of our fellow faith and ethnic communities. And toward that end, Joel's MVP performance has been no less committed and certainly no less respected in the greater Jewish and Houston communities. And here to say just a word or two about that are two people who are in a unique position to know what I'm talking about, and who themselves are both cherished MVPs for all of us, and for whom we share abundant measures of respect and affection. So ladies and gentlemen, help me please welcome to our podium District C Council Member Abby Kamen and U.S. Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher.
There's always a rule of thumb in our community, which is not to follow Bobby Lapin. First and foremost, Joel and Elena, I hope you're able to just take a look around for a second and see all of the people that are here to celebrate you and support you, not only tonight, but throughout your entire career and whatever the future holds for you. I think our our board chairs pretty much covered it in terms of the scope of all that Joel has accomplished. 3 floods in 3 years, a global pandemic, October 7th. I actually came to know Joel for his stand during actually the vigil for Tree of Life, and his grace in bringing the community together even then. And one of the things that stands out in terms of Joel's leadership is the fact that we're standing up here tonight. And when Bobby talks about community, Joel, you really stand for community and building bridges at every level of government with every corner of our city and beyond. So I made the mistake of writing my own proclamation, which is way too long to read. And I promised Lauren I wouldn't because it's so long. But the bottom line is, regardless of all the hurdles, Joel, and the vision of this building that is your legacy, what I hold most dear to me in terms of who you are for all of us is the feeling, no matter what age group, whether it's me, my 4-year-old son, and I was looking back at the picture of the groundbreaking, I was like, I think pretty pregnant, the welcoming feeling for all and the memories that you have helped create that are going to be passed on for generations. So I, from the bottom of my heart, want to say thank you. And I think nothing is more true than if you're doing a workout class or in a program, Joel is always just kind of walking around, checking things out, being that presence to make sure that everyone knows that the JCC is here for them. I also want to recognize that you are here for your entire staff, and you have never, not once, made sure, you've always made sure that they are okay too. And that is true leadership. Lastly, I want to recognize your family, your girls, and of course, Elena. It takes a huge sacrifice to allow and give the space for your father and your husband to do what he does to stand for our community. So our heartfelt appreciation to all of you as well. And we'll just read this last line. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Abby Kamen, council member of District C, recognize and celebrate Joel Dinkin for more than 45 years of extraordinary service and leadership in the city of Houston. And we love you.
Joel, I'm going to pick up where Abby left off, excuse me, and just say that I too have, not surprisingly, a certificate of recognition, and I will read it. Mine are always shorter, but also I'll start there, and then I want to expound on it a little bit. But I do want to note it's with great joy that I'm standing here today, and such gratitude to you for reaching your hand of friendship out to me to become a part of this community and a part of the life of the J, and to be here in times of need and in times of celebration and joy. And that leadership that you have shown to this community extends far beyond the walls of the J, throughout the entire 7th Congressional District, and far, far beyond, as we've heard already tonight with this amazing program, the national impact, the reach you've had for people. And certainly I am one of them, of being able to work with you and partner with you and be a valued advisor, to have you sharing with me the things that our community needs and wants and deserves to get from our representatives at every level of government, as Abby said. And I think that that leadership has the incredible benefits that we see tonight. We've heard this amazing presentation. I can't get over how catchy it is. And I didn't know the football theme, or I probably could have gotten that in here too. But I too want to recognize, with a certificate of congressional recognition from the Texas 7th Congressional District, for your more than 45 years of service to Jewish community centers nationwide, and for your leadership as the Chief Executive Officer of the Evelyn Rubinstein Jewish Community Center here in Houston, fostering connection among people throughout our community, enrichment for everyone, and lifelong learning and community here. And so, as Bobby said, community is the middle name, and it's something that you have shown, and you have given us the example of how to connect and how to be part of the community. So I'm so incredibly grateful to you. I'm honored and proud to be here tonight to thank you and to present you with this certificate of recognition.
And you're supposed to come up now.
All good? Lizzie, Abby, thank you both so much. We are so blessed to have you in our leadership of this community, and we're grateful that you were here tonight to join us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, folks, the time has come. We need a little audience participation here. We now need to decide whether or not to actually confer this MVP honor upon Joel. But before we do so formally, I just want to be sure that we really are all agreed upon this decision. So just to test this out, here's the audience participation part. Let me ask this of each of you. If you have ever personally worked with Joel on a JCC program, or have ever been an officer or a member of his board of directors here, please stand, wave your pom-pom or terrible towel, and remain standing. There we go. Thank you. Now, if you have ever come to a remain standing, please. If you've ever come to a JCC event or have run into Joel in the community and been greeted warmly by him, please stand and raise your pom-pom or terrible towel. Excellent, excellent. So far, so good. If you're a member of the J or a member of the J staff team, please stand and raise your terrible towel or pom-pom. Thank you. And if you're personally grateful for what this remarkable community servant has done to nurture our community through the crises and through the good times, please stand and wave your terrible towel or pom-pom. I see everybody is standing, and so before I ask you to sit, I need to ask for a vote of acclamation. Is Joel our MVP? All right, I think I heard that. Let's try one more time. Is Joel our MVP? Thank you. Now you may take your seats. And it is now my great pleasure and honor to invite up Elizabeth Cohen, our current JCC board president, to make this recognition formal and to make the presentation to our MVP.
Thank you, Bobby Lapin. And again, I hate following Bobby Lapin. Woo! As the current president of the board, I have seen firsthand how Joel builds critical partnerships in our community. We could not do the work without the support of our community partners, the Jewish Federation of Greater Houston, United Way, and Jewish Family Service. Joel stands among the important lineup of ERJCC leaders, and we have, and it's been mentioned, two of our past CEOs here this evening, Hans Mayer and Jerry Wishy. So tonight, Joel, we honor your remarkable legacy in three meaningful ways that reflect your passion, your leadership, and your lasting impact on our community. First, I want to thank those of you who have contributed to the Elena and Joel Dinkin Staff Israel Experience Fund that we have established in Joel's honor to support opportunities for the JCC staff to travel to Israel, build professional skills, and deepen their connection to the ERJCC's mission. Joel always puts the staff first, and it is so impressive. As of yesterday, we had received just over 100 generous contributions to the fund. Thank you all. Okay. I have to go get something. This is it? Okay. Bobby's an incredible. No, is that the big one? No, that's the heavy one. No, not that one. Okay. Bobby's an incredible assistant, by the way. Okay. Joel, I think you have to come up here for this now. Oh, this is great. Okay. Okay, I got it. This is your second thing. Okay, so first is the fund. Oh, it does say open here. Okay. It's so good that they tell me this. I need help as the board chair. Second, Joel, just like Terry Bradshaw, do you know Terry's number?
12.
Good job. Okay. Who led the Steelers to 4 Super Bowl victories with determination and heart. You have led the ERJCC to incredible success with your vision and dedication. So this jersey, hang on, it says open here. Okay, pull it out. Look at this. Woo! You are our number 18. You are our life. And now, one more thing. This is, I've been told, a little bit heavy, so I'm going to get both hands. Okay, you ready, Bobby? You can hold it. Oh, guess what? Bobby's going to have a new role. Okay. My lovely assistant, Bobby, will hold the role. And finally, this crystal replica of our new building represents the lasting legacy you have built. Just like Pittsburgh's famous bridges, it connects us to a strong and promising future. Thank you for being our MVP, Joel. Look at that thing.
Thank you. I thought I would be able to keep myself together up here until you just saw that acrylic. That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Many of you know that I enjoy swimming, and most mornings have a different kind of workout. I learned over the years that it's good to take a minute or two to breathe, drink a little water before starting the next set. So before I start my prepared remarks, I had a little water before I came up here on stage and want to take a little breather to thank Bobby, the past presidents, Lyndon Lee, Michael, Barack, Morgan, Robin, Kenneth and Stacy, Abby and Lizzie, Kenner Simmons, Elizabeth, Nancy, Rosalind, Betsy and Amy, Lauren, Marilyn, Debbie, Melanie, Lori, Trevor, Nathaniel, and anyone else that was involved in planning tonight's overwhelming recognition that I will never truly forget. Lay leaders, colleagues, staff, community partners, national partners all have had and will continue to have and play a huge role in this JCC. Words cannot begin to describe my feelings and sense of deep admiration and gratitude for each of you. Over the years, usually in a circle of staff or with a few lay leaders, we would invariably talk about something that may have been exceptional, unusual, or respond and say something and say, did that really just happen? Or did they really just say that? The suggestion was always made that I should write a book and include that, did that really just stuff happen in my book? So tonight, I want to share the cliff notes of 3 chapters and a few illustrations from the book that has been written to date only in my heart. Chapter 1, Mishpacha, family. The book will start with family. Elena and I met 30 days after I started working at the J in June of 1979 and have been together since. It was not always easy. However, we managed to figure it out. We made many choices, focused mostly on my work and career until Elena opted not to work outside of the home until Marcy and Allison were in college. A few months after we moved back to Houston from Columbus, Elena took a part-time job as a greeter at the Weekly Y and a few months later turned into a part-time role working with active older adults. To suggest that she hit the ground running at the Y is a huge understatement. She runs an amazing program and has provided and continues to provide hundreds of active older adults with a reason to get out and enjoy life. I have seen and witnessed firsthand, and if we were not married, I would have hired her. She has balanced her professional work at the Y while continuing to be a mother and mother-in-law and leaving me my daily to-do list. We have been together in this journey from day one and would not be here tonight without her love, support, and guidance. Growing up in Houston and in Columbus, our daughters Marcy and Allison's lives revolved around the J, synagogue, Jewish summer camps, and community. I guess looking back, it should not surprise anyone that spending as much time as they did in and around community and their two social worker parents, that Marcy is a licensed clinical social worker in private practice, and Allison is a director of mental health services at the Adams County 14 School District outside Denver, both dedicated to these critical helping professions. The value of Tikkun Olam carries over to our son-in-law Herman, a psychologist, and soon-to-be son-in-law in 6 months, Max, who is an HR professional. Elaine and I could not be prouder of all of you for your personal and professional choices you have made. Just think in a few weeks when you call my cell, you can say hello instead of first asking if I'm in a meeting or at work. In the coming weeks, there'll be a new digital installation that recognizes the J's history and honors each of the past presidents. When I was reading the draft copy of the material a few weeks ago, the names of the leaders and visionaries from years ago are many of the same family names that you see throughout our campuses. And if you look closely, our current list of Board of Trustees contains many of the same family names that founded and nurtured the J. Our Jewish community is blessed to have had and continue to have generations of leaders who are committed to making a difference. I feel blessed and truly honored to have had the opportunity to have learned and partnered with so many outstanding community leaders, past, present, and future, and the values that have been and continue to be transmitted from generation to generation. The chapter on family would likely conclude about talking about 4 individuals that I never met, but I feel I have known for a lifetime. Evelyn and Saul Rubenstein, and Soph and Al Matkin. Words will never be able to describe the impact that the Rubenstein and Natkin families have made and will continue to make in our community and throughout the city of Houston. It has been transformational. On a personal note, Elena and I are proud to have Linda and Jerry as our friends. And Jerry, even though I will have more time on my hands, we expect that your personal delivery of bagels being left in our mailbox on Sunday mornings will continue in perpetuity. Chapter 2, Todah, gratitude. Following the recitation of the meeting at Congregation Emmanuel on Friday nights, when it's time to pray silently, Rabbi Fixler indicates that if you have nothing to pray for, think of 5 things you're grateful for. So here's my list, although slightly longer than 5. Grateful for having had this unimaginable professional career and the trust and faith you had in me to lead. Grateful to the lay leaders and the volunteers who partner with the staff to fulfill our mission. Grateful to the J-Past presidents for our friendship, mutual respect, and shared vision. Grateful to the foundations, partners, community agencies, and donors for your faith and trust in the J. Grateful to my friends, professional colleagues who are near and far for your guidance, sharing advice, lots of good laughs, support, and encouragement over all these years. I guarantee you that none of this would have been possible without you. And to Michael, Daniel, Janet, David, Barak, and Betsy for traveling to Houston to be here tonight. It means so much in so many ways. Grateful to the dream team that planned tonight's program, and grateful to everyone who contributed to the Staff Israel Development Fund that was created to provide meaningful educational opportunities for the J staff to experience Israel. Grateful to our members who believe in our mission and for your trust that enables the J to be the community town square. Grateful to the J Board of Trustees for the wisdom in hiring Larry Skolnick, a dedicated and experienced Jewish communal professional, as your next leader and partner going forward. Grateful to the hundreds of individuals who stood up and said, Hineni, I am here. We were so bold to think we could raise $50 million. And grateful to our partners in the design, fundraising, planning, and construction of our state-of-the-art campus. Grateful for Melanie Beltram for her support, partnership, and keeping me in line. Grateful for being in good health, to be able to enjoy all of the wonderful things that are in our future, some that I know about and others that will just happen. And grateful to the Jay staff who put up with me and grateful for the choices you made to work at the Jay. Our partnership and your patience with me, well, it may not have been clear what I was thinking, or if you were getting the social worker, the MBA, a little bit of both, or none of the above. For so many of you, you likely did not wake up one day and say you wanted to be a Jewish communal professional. You followed your heart, and I am very thankful that your values mirror those of the Jay and the choices you made to be a part of the Jay family. At this point, I'd like to pause and ask the staff that are here tonight, both the current and former staff, to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Okay. Chapter 3. The big stuff is important, but it's the small stuff that really matters. The CEO of a nonprofit partners with the board, staff, and other stakeholders to stay true to the mission and create strategies, goals, and objectives that are critically important that serve to focus on today while continuing to look down the road into the future. No argument for me that these are critical and drove the Jay to greater heights and accomplishments. I'm here to tell you that 99% of our members couldn't care less about strategies, goals, and objectives. To them and for them, it's the small stuff that really matters. The 31 plus years of working here and 16 years in Columbus afforded me the opportunity to watch and experience firsthand and the importance of getting the little stuff right. When you do this for as long as I have, you get to see and feel getting the little stuff right leads to lots of little stuff that eventually gets you to getting the big stuff right. You all have experienced something unique and special about the Jay as a child, teen, or volunteer that has made a difference in your life. I know we're getting it right most of the time when I'm having a conversation with a member in the steam room who tells me how important the Jay is to him, provides him a sense of belonging and community. His words, not mine. Or talk with a sister and brother who just completed their 3rd year working at Jay camps, commuting daily from Baytown. Or in an email from a Jay staff member sharing the following story. She had called a member to collect an outstanding balance on their account, and through the course of conversation, learned why they were behind on their dues. She listened, and what started as a business transaction turned to an act of compassion and kindness for the family. The family sent an email of deep appreciation and gratitude to the staff member, and who then shared with me the following, quote, "His words reminded me of the deeper impact we can have in our roles, not just as an employee, but as members of a community who can show up for each other at a time when it matters," end quote. This makes me feel so proud that in that moment, our staff recognized that what truly matters is how we care about each other. There's a story in the Bible about the prophets Elijah and Elisha that describes Elijah's final years and God commanding Elijah to anoint Elisha, who was a farmer, to be a successor, and they served together until Elijah was taken to heaven in a fiery chariot. There are a number of lessons that we can learn from the story of Elijah and Elisha that include the importance of mentorship, perseverance, and a true mentor invest in others. I've always highly valued what it means to be a mentor, and as a CEO, there is nothing more important than to continue to provide the people resources to ensure the Jay's continued growth and prosperity. Just as Elijah did with Elisha, I've made this a priority throughout my career, mentoring and coaching to ensure that people resources will continue to be in place. I am so very proud of the culture that we have created where the people and family come first. I was asked recently by a member about my legacy, and my response to him was, the CEO must provide for tomorrow, and I feel very confident that this goal has been accomplished with the people that are in place to lead, nurture, and support our Jay. there's something I highlighted in my notes here. It says in yellow, highlighted in yellow, it says pause. So I need to take a breath here as I get ready to end. Okay. No book would be complete without a few illustrations. So some of the images you would see in my book would include the image of the parade of athletes at opening ceremonies of the JCC Maccabi Games and the pride of being a host community. The memory of walking around the J on the first day I could get into the building following Hurricane Harvey. The overwhelming feeling of the dedication ceremony of the new facility in February of 2023. A picture that I took from the tennis center balcony on the last day of Hurricane Harvey's supply drive, where staff and volunteers arm in arm gathered to welcome in Shabbat after a very challenging 5 days. The unbelievable feeling a few months ago of standing on stage and singing Hatikva with former hostage Eli Sharabi. An image of a small group of J campers hanging out with our camp inclusion director, who without this program likely would not have meaningful J camp experience. Wearing a Big Bird outfit to a United Way staff campaign event. My first day as a J employee, parking cars at the Meyer and Ida Gordon campsite dedication in May of 1979, which is probably why I hang out in day camp carpool so much. And finally, a picture that was given to me as a gift of appreciation from a family of a 12-year-old Israeli boy named Amir, who came to Houston to be treated at MD Anderson and would hang out at the J when not in treatment. The picture is of my favorite place at the J, the patio overlooking the outdoor pool. Amir drew himself standing on the patio overlooking the swimming pools, longing for an opportunity to enjoy the simple things in life like swimming. Amir passed away a few months after arriving in Houston. This picture will be on the cover of my book as a reminder of his courage and how he made a difference. May Amir's memory be a blessing. I learned a great deal in social work school, and one of the things that we studied was the concept of beginnings, middles, and ends, and the feelings and characteristics associated with each. Endings can be hard and uncomfortable. Something is coming to an end, plain and simple. This is the end of a very special and significant part of my life. Those who know me know that I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. Yes, endings are hard. However, I feel a tremendous sense of accomplishment, and it is time, the right time for me personally and professionally. One of the byproducts of endings are new beginnings, and I'm excited for the new personal journeys for me and Elena, and the new beginnings for the J under Elizabeth and Larry's leadership. When I sat with lay leaders 18 months ago and targeted this month to retire, I said two things. One, I'll be turning 70 at the end of December 25. And second, after 16 years, a change in leadership is a good thing on many levels for a nonprofit. So the time is right for me and in the life of the J. I recognize that tonight it has been about me. However, I ask when someone asks you what you did tonight, you can say at least two things. One, that you attended an evening that recognized Joel for his 46 years as a Jewish communal professional. And second, more importantly, it was a night to pause and celebrate the Evelyn Rubenstein JCC, the town square of our community, and how fortunate our community is to have such a remarkable institution. May you go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. All right, before we adjourn to continue the celebration upstairs and outside, I have a few final instructions for each of you. First of all, it'll be my pleasure to recall back up here Cantor Simmons to lead us in a very special prayer of gratitude, the Shechechianu, which, as we all know, we always recite in our most special moments. Cantor Simmons, thank you for rejoining us.
Hope you'll join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Sheheanu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cantor. All right, folks, that wraps up this 40 for 40 segment of Joel Dinkin, The Road to the MVP. On behalf of everyone at JSPN, Buckeye Nation, Steeler Nation, Astros Nation, and Dinkin Nation, I want to thank you for joining us for this special program. But before we all adjourn to what I know will be a fabulous reception outside in Joel's honor, I want to make one final request, and that is that you please stay in your seats for just a moment as our marching band escorts Joel and Elena out to the foyer. And as the band gets ready to do so, would you please rise for just a moment and join me in one final cheer by answering this question. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Joel. Strike up the band. Let's go.